Hello, everyone. Welcome to the universe. My name is John Kearns. I'm joined today by Tim Farley
Hello.
and Bethany Nash.
Hello.
We got the three-man booth tonight. But we are here to talk about episode 107 of My Hero Academia. As you just saw, it is titled More of a Hero Than Anyone. And going into the episode, the obvious assumption to make would be that the episode would focus heavily on Endeavor's development that we're seeing and him becoming more of a hero than anyone. But we find out very quickly that that is not what this episode is about.
Yes.
This episode is quite literally one of the most emotional of the entire series so far.
I feel like series like this and Steven Universe should have the viewer discretion is advised at the beginning, just with a box of tissues underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, some episodes of Steven definitely fit that category, and this one for sure. Like, warning, do not watch in public. Warning, do not watch before work like I did. Warning, do not watch.
Yeah, I funeral cried. So
I get to work and somebody's like, "Oh my god, did someone die?" And I was like, "Yes." No.
luckily I was alone completely.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just
But,
I watched it with Kayla in the living room with Mom, who has no idea what's going on, didn't understand why I was in tears, and Dad's upstairs sleeping, so like I couldn't show any emotion, so I'm just silently crying in the corner of the couch.
Isn't that how you spend most days, though?
that's not nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so this episode focuses. Well, it starts off with Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo getting back to class because the third term is starting and their winter break. The winter break is over, which means the work studies are over. The first person we see is Ida, acting not like himself, but like himself. You get in there. My mother just stood in the doorway and did that weird fucking shimmy that Ida was doing.
It was hilarious. What did he say? Do it like a gentleman or something?
Yeah. But yeah, in just in the week that he was on his work study, what was the hero's name? Beth, did you catch it? Tim, did you catch it? The hero name?
I think it was something with an M.
Yeah.
No, Bubba was searching our pantry for elbow macaroni, so I didn't hear anything.
Interesting. But yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how searching for elbow macaroni makes everything not be able to come into your ear.
I
Bro,
organized the pantry,
he's a
so I
wild
made the
searcher.
whole
No.
shelf pasta.
Yeah.
Where's the elbow?
There's pasta on this entire shelf, and there's rotini, ziti, penne, and garden. What's it called? Garden rotini, all in front of the elbow macaroni. So he had to move all of those noodles, and he is not a quiet person.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's not like we had a mariachi going on in the kitchen because he was moving all the noodles.
But yeah, so we see Ida, and he learned how to conduct himself in a more gentle manner. So he's a lot more, well, one, he's a lot more polite. Two, he's
not as stiff.
Yeah, he's not as stiff. He's more like
He's not doing the robot constantly. Yeah.
But I liked that. I liked the, but yeah, but so we see him give the class like a debriefing, basically, about what they're doing today, and they all have to go to Ground Alpha. And as they're starting to leave, Aizawa busts in the door, and he's like, "Hey, stop chatting. We need to because usually when he gets in, everybody's everybody quickly sits down. And Ida says, well, I just finished telling them what they ought to do as you requested this morning. And they're all like, Happy New Year, Mr. Aizawa. And they carry their costumes out. And Aizawa's just like, oh, okay. And Principal Nezu comes over to the PA and says that he needs to go to the staff room immediately. So cut to the girls' locker room. They're all changing into their costumes. All the girls are commenting on how Ochako changed her costume. And they're like, well, what brought on the change?
It's always Ashido.
It's always Ashido, dude. Yeah. So Ashido...
Because Ashido knows!
So Ashido is holding the side parts of her belt, and she shakes it like, hey, what's in here? And the little All Might keychain that Deku got her for Christmas, well, it didn't specifically get her. They did the white elephant thing, but we talked about that in the Christmas episode. But it falls on the ground, and all the girls immediately are looking at it, like, because they all know where that came from. And she does like this crazy...
It seemed like all of them were confused, and then Ashido was just like, I knew it!
And Ochako does this crazy, like, parkour, like, ninja moves to pick it up and hide it. And cut from there to the boys' locker room, and Kirishima is talking about how cool it is that Deku is able to master the Black Whip so easily and so swiftly. But moving on from there, we cut away from there.
Wait, what? Bakugo entered.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he threw something into Deku's head, and then Deku was like walking out with it.
He threw one of his headpieces at Deku, and then I think it was Kaminari that was just like, there's blood coming from his head. Like,
it was like a spinal thing, and like they were like freaking out that he might die, and then he was just like walking with them somewhere, and it was still in his head, and it was just like, what the?
But like
his eyes were like weird as fuck. Like, so very funny stuff from between Bakugo and Deku, and they asked him why he did it, and he just said, "I'm not pleased." And I was like, "What? Okay."
When are you?
So you've graduated right to blatantly attacking him in front of the rest of the class.
Yep, that's where the love is now. Yeah. He doesn't even have to berate him anymore.
Yeah.
It just went right to physical abuse.
Right, exactly. Just
domestic
his ass.
We got the weirdest All Might I've ever seen in this episode, too.
Cotton Candy Randy All Might, dude! Yes! Cotton Candy Randy All Might.
I am excited for next week for two reasons. One, next week's episode looks like it's going to be fucking crazy, and a lot of stuff is going to happen. Two, the dub of this episode is going to come out, and I can't wait to hear Christopher Sabat say "Fine and Dandy" with cotton candy. And I can't wait to hear
in my notes, I literally put "All Might is fine and dandy with cotton candy."
And very upset that they ignored his joke.
I know.
If you don't know what the reference of Cotton Candy Randy is, you need to watch Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link.
Happy Cotton Candy Day.
I've seen it. I've seen that one. So I know what it was.
Oh, I was telling the viewers, Bethany, I could give a shit less about you.
Well, I was saying no. I mean, I've known for a while, but thank you for confirming.
Well, she's my Deku.
That's kind of true.
Yeah.
But, so, we cut right away from the students, from the class, and we are taken right along on this ride that Aizawa has been sent on. Basically, you almost get the sense that it's a mission that they've been sent on by Nezu and the Hero Commission and the police.
Aizawa was giving off the vibe like he did not want to fucking do it.
Hell
He
no.
would rather be teaching, and
President
that
Mike didn't want to do it either.
it was a nuisance. And you come to find out that they didn't know exactly what they were doing. I think.
Right.
Or Mike might have knew a little, but
So
Aizawa didn't know anything.
yeah,
Presentation Michael was like Team Umizoomi, and Aizawa wanted him to go faster. And like, Aizawa, I know that you are not
so
for
yeah.
life at the moment, or like ever, but like, don't die because President Mike is Team Umizoomi to the max.
Yeah. So Aizawa not into this, not feeling the vibe. President Mike telling him to calm down, but when it shows President Mike, he's anything but calm.
Right.
I feel like he kind of knew what it was referring to,
Yeah. Well,
or like he had an idea of like where it was going.
They had no idea though. They didn't. What was revealed, they had no idea would have
right.
happened.
So,
Gran Torino told them.
but they're going, and they go to the prison. And I don't know if it's the same prison that All for One is in, but the apparatus that the person they're talking to was wearing is very similar. So I'd assume that it's the same prison. But they have been sent on a not so much a mission. I'd call it a task, but they have a task of going and speaking with member of the League of Villains, Kurogiri.
Yes, and whenever they get there, they brief them on Nomus, and that Nomus are they were human, but they've been enhanced, and the brains and all that stuff is all like mixed up or something like that. And Gran Torino tells them that this certain person that they need them to talk to is someone that they were close to. And what is his name, John?
Oboro, I think Shirakumi or Shirakuma or something like
I
that.
think it was
Something like that.
But if
And we
you
see all
keep
these-
talking, I'll look it up really quick.
The one thing that was really important to note is that he said the Nomus weren't made from like living people. It was all people who were deceased,
Yeah,
like recently deceased,
Yes.
which is kind of messed up. And that's coming from me, the psych major. I had a problem with that, you know?
it's Oboro Shirakumo is his name.
Yeah, and we see that your guys' theory was right,
Yeah,
but we
In the
didn't
most depressing
realize.
way possible.
Yeah. So they were called.
and I will
They were.
I will put this out there. We don't look at manga spoiler shit. We don't do it. We want to be surprised. Us coming up with this thing where he was Kurogiri was completely off the dome. Like, that's just...
And like
Yeah.
I didn't, when I first like approached that, like I approached John about it, I did not think of it being a different person. I thought it was Kurogiri himself.
Yeah,
Like Kurogiri is one of the friends that they had in high school, and like his quirk was black holes, but like I kind of felt it was the same way with Dobby because we know
we
that
just
he
thought
had
that
like
it was the
light
same
hair.
person.
yeah, like he was consumed by like his anger or his hatred or something like that,
We
and
didn't know
just
that this
became
was...
his quirk.
We didn't know that this was the thing, basically.
So,
Yeah.
so basically, Gran Torino and the agent, we'll say, tells
I think
Aizawa
it's the same guy that's like,
Pres-
really close with All Might.
Yeah, it's the same
President-
detective.
and President Mike that the Kurogiri is a
Is a
Nomu,
Nomu.
and they believe that it was made from their
The remains
Class
of
1A friend, Obu Shirakumo, and we see all of these flashbacks, and Aizawa's demeanor completely changes, and we see that like he wanted to start an agency with both of them instead of going to a different agency, and he said we could all do it. Aizawa, you possess this. Mike, you possess this. I possess this. It would work perfectly. And he gave Aizawa the goggles so that his eyes would be better. And
that's when the tears started. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like,
same.
And then like President Mike mentions that they were called the Three Domingos, like amigos but dumb, of Class 1A, and they're asking them to talk to Kirogiri to get whatever they can out of him and use their relationship. And at first, Aizawa does not want to do this, but then the agent for Torino says, if you guys don't do it, we're just going to contact his family. And Aizawa is like, you think that I would let you contact his family and go be put through this? And they sit down and go ahead, John.
Yeah, so...
Hold on, real quick, though.
Yeah.
Didn't they use the Nomu... No, I keep calling it a Nomu. The Nomu that fought Endeavor, they said, like, before he became the Nomu, he was, like, a street fighter. So, like, they thought that he
was a hoodlum street fighter.
Living personality followed him into his Nomu state.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of why they wanted to try to, like, bring
find out.
So
we find out that Kirogiri... We're going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
but Aizawa says that when he fought Kurogiri, he wasn't like Shirakumo was.
Yeah, he didn't recognize him, nothing like that. But then they're talking to Kirogiri, and Kirogiri's asking about Shigaraki and how is Shigaraki doing.
He says is how is Shigaraki.
And they're asking, well, why do you care so much? And he says, well, my main job was to look out for him. And this triggers Aizawa's memory of how caring
Shirakumo
was, yeah. And how Aizawa would push away stray cats and stuff, and he would like, hold them and talk to them, and he gave Aizawa the glasses. That's where that comes in, and all that stuff. And he's making the connections in his head that this is possibly my friend in there.
So yeah.
One of the hardest things to watch in this episode was the scene right before that happens. Or, well, it's still, like, in that scene, but it's earlier in the scene. When he says that his main goal is to protect Shigaraki. And President Mike is just like, well, why would you want to protect him? He's so, like, dark and gloomy and doesn't have, like, a bright outlook. But, like, stops mid-sentence and just looks at Aizawa.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the...
Kirogiri says...
And when he looks at
no
Aizawa...
issue, it's part of my nature.
And when he looks at Aizawa's like this.
Mm-hmm. And, like, you can see the one little tear rolling down his face. It's so hard to watch.
And...
It's kind of hard to talk about for the first time right now. Like, I'm looking at you, Bethany, and then you're going to trigger me to fucking cry, and it's just... this is going to be nuts. But... So, let's try to keep it together.
Yeah. So, Aizawa starts telling Kurogiri stories about Shirakumo. While this is happening, we see the police in Gran Torino looking at. They basically have him hooked up to like an EKG.
They're monitoring. I think they're monitoring
his
the
brain activity.
Yeah. He's hooked up to an EKG. That's what that is.
EKG
is for heart rate. Is your heart.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't fucking know. I'm not a doctor. So.
Neither are we.
But. So how do you know? So, but as he's telling the stories, Kurogiri's brain activity starts showing anomalies, is what they call it.
Yeah, it was spiking.
It was spiking, and Kurogiri's face started like glitching,
Mhm.
like doing weird movements that you could tell.
Oh, and
throughout this
entire thing, like Aizawa has his glasses off, and like he's looking at him, like his quirk is activated, and President Mike is just like, maybe this is just like his form now. He no longer has his original form.
Right.
So like when he started glitching, like everyone was kind of shocked.
Yeah. So Aizawa's quirk was active because his eyes were red, his hair was up, like he was fully using his quirk. But still, like Kurogiri was acting strange. But
Kurogiri said that he has no knowledge of this person, and then they started screaming his name.
They started
right?
screaming his name. Yeah, they started screaming at him. Well, they started screaming at Oboro Shirakumo. And while that was happening, Kurogiri's face really started going crazy. And his brain activity. It was like. And I'm going to sneeze.
One thing we didn't mention is
Bless you.
how he died.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's so depressing.
Collapse.
Right. He was saving someone, right?
Yeah, he was saving someone.
When I watched it, I got the impression that the person he was saving and the person that he saved was Aizawa, because it was like the very first thing that we saw
of how Aizawa's face was in the flashback.
Yeah, not even one, how his face was, and two, he said that his main purpose was protecting him and that it was in his nature, and he looked. And, like, President Mike said that and then looked at Aizawa. Aizawa looked like he blames himself. Yeah. Like, that was I know his, like, normal, like, down face and everything like that, but he looked so guilty in that moment that there was no doubt in my mind that he wasn't saving Aizawa when he died.
And then he says that him and President Mike are teachers now, and he trains his students to be like him because he was the most heroic person that he ever knew and stuff like that. And like that shit is just like, what?
He says all heroes should live a long time.
He says something to the effect of, I teach my students to be more like you and less like me. And when he said, I want the greatest heroes to live a long time, that took me back to the personal issues between All Might and Sir Night Eye.
Night Eye.
Yeah. About how Night Eye looked into his future and got really pissed off at All Might for continuing hero work. But he says... It also reminded me
of the beginning when they were going through like the initial like training and everything like that to get into the hero course.
Yeah.
And Aizawa pulls Deku aside, and I want to say he
didn't pull him aside. He put him on blast in front of the whole fucking class.
Yeah, but like he essentially did the one thing that like he always did, because he said that he expelled people without actually expelling them. He expelled them on paper.
I forgot about that.
It's like a teaching
there's
thing.
a whole flashback where he goes to Nezu and says that whole thing where, like, I don't know how he exactly explained it, but he
said something along the lines of, there's a difference between being heroic and being reckless. And he's trying to teach his kids to be heroic, but they can't be truly heroic until they're reckless first.
Yeah.
Right, and then it cut to like class 2A or something like that, and they're talking about it, and they're like, remember when we all got expelled and like how much we grew from that and everything? And all right.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead. Go forward.
So he starts yelling at Kurogiri, and I mean, I have expected him to start banging on the fucking glass, but um, I'm trying to avoid saying it because it's gonna make me cry. But
I already did twice, John. So
yeah, I know.
who cares?
But it finally devolves to Aizawa screaming, let's go be heroes, all three of us. Shirakumo, tell me who altered you. And when he said that, Kurogiri's face started transforming into Shirakumo's face.
Well, right before that, he flatlined.
Yeah, he flatlined.
He
and
like
said-
flatlined. All brain activity was done. His EKG was like completely done.
And he went
And then
back to
all of
saying,
a
I have no idea what you're talking about. I am
Yeah.
Kurogiri, the caretaker of Tomo Shigaraki. And then his face went fucking crazy again.
It like expanded.
Yeah.
And like it honestly reminded me of the scene in the 8th Harry Potter movie when Harry and Voldemort jump off the top, like right after he says,
Yeah.
"Come on, Tom, let's finish this way we started it together," and their
Yeah.
faces are mashing together.
Yeah. But Shirakumo's face starts coming through and right before he flatlines again, you hear a new voice, which obviously is Shirakumo, start to say Shoto, but then he stops and says hospital. And then it flatlines. But then again it starts going crazy, but the police put an end to it by knocking him out again.
Right.
Which, not the best idea. Not the best idea. They knew what they were doing.
Well, I think
What do you mean?
Like, at that point in time, President Mike and Aizawa knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, because I definitely got the sense that they had done something like this before, or they had seen something like this before. Like, whether it was someone who was, like, brainwashed or something like that. Like, bringing someone out of something else.
I don't agree with that at all.
But what you said initially, yeah, they knew what they were doing then, and they should have let them continue.
Yeah.
Why did it stop? They could have. This is why they could have dissolved him or something.
Yeah.
And they want to keep Kurogiri and do it at like spurts, so more comes out instead of doing it all at once. And like, you know, we saw the glitching and the glitching and the glitching. Eventually, maybe the Nomu would dissolve or something with.
Well, who
with
knows? Maybe
all of that.
Maybe like something happens with Aizawa and his fucking quirk activates and fucking Shigaraki comes through and kills Kurogiri or some shit. Who knows? But
well,
it doesn't look
we know
like
that's not going to happen.
Shigaraki is going to be moving anywhere right now.
So
yeah. Oh, it was really cool though. While he's glitching and everything like that, we see what looks like the inside of Kurogiri's head, looking at President Mike and Aizawa, like standing at the glass. You can see them screaming, but you can't hear anything.
And
it's right before he starts coming through and saying, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, but I was gonna say one of my favorite scenes was where you're looking through Kurogiri's point of view at President Mike and Shoto, just screaming at him, and their hands are on the glass, but it's dead silent.
But at that point, you kind of know that's not Kurogiri.
No, it wasn't.
So, like, at that point, I definitely knew that they made a breakthrough and something was coming out of it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm going to like what's on the other side because I know no matter what it is. I think Aizawa said no matter what, it's never going to bring him back. He's never
Yeah.
going to be the same.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was him or
Like
Prison Mike
that.
that said something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, like, I know either way, it's going to make me super depressed and cry my eyes out when whatever happens, because they still have to live with the fact that their friend that they thought was dead and buried, like, they were at his funeral, like, he's now a villain. They now have
It's
to
pretty eerie.
stop him.
Speaking of the funeral, they said how they switched out the body at cremation,
Yeah.
and how it was like digging for
So-
scraps, and like
At
They
a-
always
at a
attack.
restaurant. Yeah.
they always keep their eyes on and attack UA because of the quirks.
So
All for One is saying that they cut to
Yeah.
him talking about that.
Can All for One hear everything all of the time?
no, I think when we see All for One, I think we're just seeing
Like a flashback to
flashbacks to interrogations.
yeah, interrogation, yeah.
Yeah, we're just seeing.
Okay, because like I wasn't sure like if it was something like that or if like since he's the one that makes the new moves and everything like that, if he can hear through them.
No, I don't think that's it. But
Because like
I
he
think
meant
we're just seeing like interrogation flashbacks.
okay, that could be it. I haven't gotten
But-
that entire feel yet.
So
Because
guys,
right after
But show
Like,
of
who do
hands,
you
right
guys
after-
who do you think's gonna die in the war?
but show of hands, who hates All for One even more?
Me, because
no, he's
we
the one
then
that
cut.
manipulated him.
What?
He also manipulated Shigaraki.
Yeah,
He molded. We see that the perfect Nomu is being made because they found the right ambition and the right this and that, and Shigaraki's on a table with All for One's mad scientist, and
Which we know is the villain in the next movie.
Shigaraki was related to. He was the grandson,
yeah,
The grandson of All Might's
Oh.
successor.
All Might's
yeah.
predecessor.
No,
Oh,
no,
predecessor.
And and-
Shimura.
His whole
Mhm.
life could have went somewhere else, but I bet you All for One took him as a child and groomed him
Yeah.
for this, and now
Well, that's exactly
Shigaraki
what
is
happened.
going. Is
He's
going
told that.
We saw that happen.
right.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it as many times or as recently.
Yeah,
But and now we're seeing the transformation, and it's really sickening. Like, not only was it messed up to
So-
see Aizawa and his friend, but also, how
They're-
Shigaraki has been manipulated and
they're
being
turning
used.
him into a Nomu, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
The
Does that mean
perfect
he was
Nomu.
murdered? Does that mean he was dead? Did they kill Shigaraki so they can make the Nomu?
Another, so-
The kid was killed in the class building, right? What did we see in like the first or second episode or third episode? Shigaraki coming out of a class building not looking like himself.
yeah. Mom brought up a good point when we were watching this. How many of those Nomus are former UA students?
Probably fuck them.
Don't make me cry. Do not make me cry thinking about that.
Is that
Because
what?
no one from like
Hold on. No. I have a theory.
I think I know where you're going. Go ahead.
They didn't want Bakugo in the League of Villains. They were going to kill him and make him a fucking Nomu.
Yeah.
Also,
They were going to kill Bakugo.
the numbers that the Meta Liberation has. Over 1,000. How many of them are Nomus?
They're probably most of them.
Oh, but this is what I was going to say. The reason why I think All Might can, or not All Might, All for One can hear through the Nomus is because after Kirigiri says or like not Kirigiri, but like he says hospital, I keep saying All Might. It goes to All for One, and he's talking about how like they don't get it yet, they don't know what's going on yet, but he keeps like all of it harbored on the fact that he said the word hospital. And then it goes to the evil scientist guy, and then it goes to Hawks. Hawks says, like, I can't remember exactly, like, what Hawks was talking about. Like, I can't remember, like, that entire scene. Well, but then it goes back to the mad scientist where we see Shigaraki.
So somebody called Hawks for help, and he had to pretend that he wasn't going because he was with Twice. So
yeah,
but
I love Twice.
As soon as he's out of the room, he's going to the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
He just knows that he can leave. He just knows that he's okay to leave Twice alone because Twice isn't the brightest bulb in the box. But
Twice doesn't even know where Twice is at.
I love how Twice, and I love how Twice's angry sign was like black coffee, and then his happy side was like with lots of milk and sugar.
Okay, since that was the end of the episode, can I get into the preview, please?
Not yet, because I want to say, I think, if I remember correctly, I think specifically All for One has a direct mind link to Kurogiri, because he was able to force activate Kurogiri's quirk to suck out the rest of the League of Villains from the All Might fight. So I think he can see and hear through Kurogiri. But
he should probably be able to do that with all of them because he gives and takes away quirks. Right, exactly.
So that would mean that a lot or most of Nomus are former UA students. All of them are basically All for One's Horcruxes. And, yeah, I mean, yeah, what else would we call it? Mm-hmm. And
that's kind of how I explained the series to Mom, not gonna lie.
Yeah, the Nomus are like All for One's.
Yeah, but if you kill the Nomus, it doesn't make him hurt.
So the Nomus are like All for One's children then, I'll say that.
But I feel like it kind of would hurt him at least like a little bit when a Nomu dies because like it weakens the force that he has around him in that sense.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like his protection isn't as strong because he has less numbers around him, and because he's in prison, he can't really make more.
I mean, All for One's pretty fucked up already. He's got.
Bethany, did you say something about how the villain in the movie is the scientist?
Yeah, earlier? I thought it was confirmed that the evil scientist is
because the evil scientist is like fat and weird looking. The guy who was in Europe,
the fucking
was like
blue guy is
the shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fucking blue guy is the villain. But
in the one scene, the evil scientist did look blue.
Doesn't that mad scientist Doesn't that mad scientist bear a striking resemblance to the doctor from episode 1 of My Hero that tells Deku he'll never have a quirk?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dr. Egg or whatever his name is from Sonic.
Well, that's true, too. He looks like...
That's what I was thinking, Tim. He looks like the scientist
He's totally
from Sonic.
He's totally Eggman. The Roosevelt-looking motherfucker.
All they have to do is find the giant time capsule with the button on top, push that, and all the bunnies and squirrels will run away, and he'll be defeated.
Yeah. So, preview, Beth.
Okay, I'm super excited about this preview. First off, we're going to start with the name of next week's episode. It is called Villain Academia.
Yes. Now, this is...
It jumps back 2 months, and it's essentially going... It seems like cover what the villains have been going through within the past 2 months. So, like, where they're at. I have a feeling we're going to get to see how invested the Meta Liberation is and where exactly they stand. Because right now, all that we have is, like, speculation and the little bits that we've been able to get through Hawks.
Yeah. And Deku kind of compared it to while we were doing work studies, they were doing their own type of work study, meaning
Yeah.
like they were training and getting stronger. So
So,
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it as well. But this is a common thing in anime that is a gift and a curse. It's a love and a hate thing for me. Just when you are about to get onto, just when you're on the ledge and gonna go into that big thing that's gonna happen, they pull it back and show you past things that will help you further understand what you're about to get into. And that's great. Like, that's where the love part is.
Saying,
but the hate part is, like, I just want to see this fucking war.
Yes. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. But I will throw in something. The manga readers of My Hero Academia have all been hyping up this My Villain Academia thing for a while now. And they've been saying that, oh, this is the one that should have replaced the Endeavor arc, or they mixed everything up, blah, 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 blah. But according to them, the My Villain Academia thing is actually the beginning of the Metal Liberation War arc. So I understand what you're saying, but in this situation, I don't think that's what's happening.
I honestly, I don't really care. I don't care where it falls in the I know.
I know.
I don't mean like but like I don't really care where it falls in. No, I know you're not saying that. I just don't want to offend any of like the manga readers if they would come across this by saying that I don't really care about it.
I'm excited for it because of how much the manga readers have hyped it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm ready to see what the fuss is about. I'm ready to see what the hubbub is, bub. Like, I'm ready. But is this the only season of My Hero that is going to contain 3 arcs?
Depends on when they end it.
I feel like it might be, only because I feel like either right before the end of the season or right to the end of the season is when the war is going to happen. But the way that I feel like they're kind of going is that the end of season 5 will be right before the war. We're going to get a giant fucking cliffhanger that we're going to have to wait for.
But also, if they're doing 3 arcs, is this going to be the first season of My Hero with 3 different openings?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Usually that's what happens.
Yeah. New arc means new opening.
I'm just really excited because I absolutely love the villains in this series.
Oh yeah.
Like I obviously I love the hero characters and everything like that.
They do a really good job of making every character important.
Yes. No good hero story is nothing. It's nothing without the villain. Precisely. The villain essentially makes the hero story because without the villain you wouldn't have a hero. And granted, you have people
Joker,
like
Batman sucks.
I mean,
sorry.
Yeah.
Without his rogues gallery, Batman sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just
there are other like.
Yeah.
There are other like villains that would go into it, but even with like the Batman storylines, none of those villains were really bad. They all played like a small part in making Batman who Batman was.
Yeah.
So like I absolutely love the villains. I am really excited to see how like they work together because we've only ever really seen them like in action or when they were helping I think his name was Overhaul, but I always called him by like his actual name.
Yeah.
With the Aerie arc.
Yeah.
But like when they were helping him, the main ones that we saw were
Overhaul.
Yeah, I always called him Chisaki.
Yeah.
But when we saw like Twice and Toga helping like in the caves and everything like that, and then at the end when you see them taking his hand, or like in the movie when like it's only ever been action with them. The only like interpersonal relationships that we've actually seen are Twice and Toga.
Yeah.
But that's only because they didn't really play that much of a role in helping Chisaki with his men when they were trying to escape. So like I'm really excited to see where the villains stand with each other. I definitely want
to see what you're saying. I'm kind of like, oh, how are they gonna interact?
You know we're also going.
just fucking rules because there's 3 things going on, and they all are fucking super interesting.
There's 3 things going on, and at the same time,
one you have the Vestiges thing. The second is the Todoroki family, and the third is this Meta Liberation war. And all 3 of them are very intriguing and engaging.
And at the same time, none of them overshadow each other.
Yeah.
No. It all works in harmony. And like the writer of the manga
job.
And the producers of this show have adapted it. Like, this is just really good writing.
Yeah, and they're doing a really good job of throwing in stuff about each thing right before you forget that it's happening.
Yeah. There are 2 things that I'm really excited about that I'm hoping are in this episode. 1, we get to see where Shigaraki stands with the Meta Liberation Army and the war and everything like that. Because
full backstory.
I feel like that's eventually coming, especially leading up to him having all of the needles in him, becoming a Nomu.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited because I want to, in previous podcasts, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but we were talking about how whether or not Shigaraki was actually fully for this war, if he was just using this war to get to higher ground.
Right.
So I want to see, like, if they'll touch on how he feels about it and if he feels like he's getting anything out of it. 2, I want to see, I hope that we see Hawks in this episode so we can see the role he plays in the war.
Yeah,
like, where he falls in with the villains.
Of that. I want more of that.
Because, like, we know.
That'll probably be in, like, 2 episodes, I think. It might happen in this episode. We might see him, but I have a feeling we're gonna have to wait for 2 episodes, like the next week. But
I'd be completely fine with that as long as, like, because, like, me as a character, I absolutely love Hawks. I love him. I have never thought for 1 second that he was a bad character, but I know, I know Kayla had doubts. I know, John, your mom had doubts and everything like that. There are people, and I know it's not just us. There are probably manga readers that had doubts before they got to where they are now.
Yeah.
There are probably still people that have doubts,
what the hell
even
is
though.
this guy really doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, there's always going to be doubts about him because of the role that he's playing. Especially
he's so
because.
good at playing both sides, it's hard to tell what side he's on.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't like the, what are they called? Like, it's not the corporation, but I usually call it the corporation, the people that he's working for.
Commission.
Yeah, the hero.
The commission.
Yeah, they fucking
I don't
suck.
like the commission.
They fucking suck, dude.
Personally, I think the commission is actually working with the Meta Liberation Army.
No, they're the reason why the Meta Liberation Army started. Probably.
I don't think that at all. I think that they just suck at their fucking jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think their job should exist.
Why the fuck is Aizawa and President Mike, who are teachers at your best school, out here wondering? They question something going on, and all these heroes are left in the fucking dark, and Hawks has to fucking go to the number 1 hero with all this information inside of this book. Like, why are you not communicating? When
they talked about restarting the work studies, all the UA teachers were like, what the hell are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you steal a child?
Okay, that entire, like, personally...
You stole a child just like All For One did.
Yes. I have said this, I think I said this in the podcast when we were talking about the work studies, or, like, the one, like, right when the work studies started. I don't think that it was the commission that was forcing the work studies, but it was Hawks because he knew the war was coming, and he knew that the commission wasn't going to tell any of the pros about it. So he's like, if no one's going to know about this, at least these kids are going to be ready, because he knows that the League of Villains already has their eyes set on Class 1A because of their previous encounters.
He knows that
the numbers.
And he knows that the key to beating it is those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Class 1A. It's the kids in that school. And every school. Because I think we're going to see all of UA. All of that school that Cammy and the Bleeding Head kid are in. They're
The one
gonna
that
be in
makes
it.
jokes at.
Yeah. They're gonna be in it.
I kind of feel like it
gonna
would.
be in it. Like,
I even feel like it'd be like the kids that are over in like the UK and stuff like that, the ones that are in the US. Like if this is as big as they have made it seem so far, we're gonna definitely have more than just one
going
A
to be spanning
and
the
more than just the
entire globe.
pros. Yeah.
It might. I mean, it we're definitely going to see. Maybe they just start the war in Japan and that's how it goes. But we know that there's the manipulator from Europe. So, if anything, we'll definitely see someone trying to go, or a squad to go to Europe.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that we're going to see any villains jump ship or vice versa?
Yes.
I haven't even thought about it.
Okay, first off, Mineta. Or not Mineta.
Mineta!
Mama. I was thinking of Mineta.
Mineta is
because
a villain.
I remember the conversation me, you, and your mom were having about Mineta.
Yeah.
That's
I
literally
think
been on my mind.
Monoma is going to die.
Monoma. If Monoma does not jump ship or just like unfortunately die, I don't know what I'd do. Like I am going to be so surprised if throughout this entire series he stays a hero.
However, it would be really cool if we see Monoma have a massive change of heart and start working together with Monet.
That is true. So those are the only two options. He can either jump ship and become a villain or completely change his character arc.
I mean, we keep making Harry Potter references, but they're kind of similar because it's in a school and blah, 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 blah. But sort of like when Malfoy refused to kill Dumbledore.
See, when we're talking about Malfoy in terms of
Malfoy
this
and Monoma
show,
are so similar.
Kind of, yes. But I always saw Shigaraki as more of a Malfoy because he was raised to be a villain.
Well, that's true.
Like he was raised to have all of this hate and all of this potential. So like if I kind of always saw like those two as more similar.
Yeah, but Shigaraki was always down for the cause.
That's true.
I mean, so was Malfoy until he realized that he had to kill Dumbledore.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but Shigaraki would probably do it.
Yeah, Shigaraki would fucking kill him. Anyway.
Especially now because he's becoming a Nomu.
So, next week, join us for our recap and discussion
beginning of My Villain Academia.
And
I'm gonna be on the screen. Sorry, I just realized I'm gonna be up at school when we do the next podcast.
Oh shit.
do the thing, John, that I do.
Is your computer gonna work better when you're at school? Tim, you do it. I don't feel like doing it. It's your thing. I already jumped.
And always remember to go beyond plus ultra. Thank you for your fist, Bethany.
She probably can't see us. Wait, there she is.
There we go.
Look at that 2-frame animation. All right, Cesaro, relax.
Sorry.